you gotta be kidding me. One more thing? No, not again. Well, it seems like the life of a targeted individual is plagued with futility. It just seems like there's nothing you can do to get ahead. You can't win for losing. And that's just the plight of people who experience the futility of gang stalking, group harassment. There's always something waiting around every corner, and you have to anticipate it. It does breed paranoia. And, it's hard, to find hope. It's hard to keep going sometimes. And I think that the propensity to have expectations that are unrealistic really plague people who experience group harassment. People who are really and genuinely targeted are going to be dealing with that. Other people around you aren't dealing with that type of harassment, and it's easy to get caught up, and the tension can easily build. I've talked about that before, where the sense of injustice is part of the mechanism in driving people who are targeted crazy. It's just there. It's a tension that builds up. Nothing really has to happen. It's the perfect medium to get someone frustrated, to pull their emotional strings. And it has reciprocity because it builds up. You might experience workplace harassment, and you're getting ganged up on. It's not fair. It's like the video I made, Loser, where you are outnumbered. And if you have the principle that you have to win, that somehow your voice has to be heard, that things have to be fair, you're going to be in trouble because, unfortunately, they're not. And that's just the way it is. And you have to see the coercive mechanism behind the situation that you're in. You're outnumbered. The odds are stacked against you. Everything is out of whack. This world is upside down. And if you're going to try and make sense of this, you're in some big trouble. Now, before you get too hopeless, I would just like to remind you that even though things aren't fair now, everything's out of balance, they are going to be put into place. When Christ returns, everything is going to be, dealt with, period. And that's the hope that people have who have faith. Christ is going to make everything right. All these things are going to make sense somehow. And trying to figure out, the answer for all that stuff, I think can be a mistake. A lot of times we speculate and, we come up with that all and everything theory, and it's based on incomplete information. And, when God says that he can make these things right, when he can wipe away all the tears and so forth, he means it. He can do it. I don't know how, but he can. So I just had to put that out there because I know people are frustrated. They're all looking for answers. They're looking for hope. And I guess, for me, my expectations, and all those things, my goals and aspirations have had to be modified. And they've had to be modified concerning the reality of where we are. We're in a world that's ruled by principalities and powers. And things are upside down. Okay, that's it. And when you see things that, look like they're working out for people, or you feel like you're on the outside looking in and somehow life has passed you by, and all these things are just unfair, and, whatever theory goes along with that, just remember that there's always an imbalance. There's people out there who seem to be, receiving blessings that, no matter what you do, you can't get. But if you look deeper, you'll see something that's imbalanced. You always will. It might be the preacher who lives in a $20 million mansion with 10 private jets and seems to be healthy. They've had their ministry for, 50 years. But if you look into it, you'll see that some of the things they're talking about, well, they kind of play into the enemy's strategy. And they are an illusion and a medium for the kingdom of darkness to come in there and make you feel like you're getting the raw deal, What an opportunity. You don't have to do any more than that. If all the devil was doing was, just creating those imbalances in this world, it would be enough. It's enough to start wars. It's enough to confuse people. And when they start to whisper into your ear, oh, God doesn't like you, it's not fair, you've been passed by, all this stuff, and you're looking at that person that they allow to have all these things, which later is probably, in that case, going to be judged. It's not going to work out, but we're pretty short-sighted. Then, it changes it. And your expectations are going to be more realistic. So, if you're one of those new targeted individuals, for example, and, they're playing that little game with you, I call it the bounce, because, 1 minute you're up and the next minute you're down, and there's always a lot of gaslighting in between. So you can be getting a lot of harassment, and then, you might think or assume that this whole thing has to do with behavioral modification, which a lot of people do believe that, and they start doing whatever they think they're supposed to do. They might have a habit. They might have some type of propensity, and they think they've got it licked. They might, be sobering up or doing this or doing that, and and then it seems like things are getting better, and wow, it all seems to make sense. Like those people that thank the Gangstalking program for changing their life, but really it's just gaslighting. Okay. Now, if they want, at that point, they can let those people believe that, and they're kind of assimilated into their little nightmare delusion. Or with most people, what will happen at that point is that, the harassment will just start again. And they'll be gaslighted into thinking that they're crazy, or that God is some kind of Machiavellian control freak or whatever. But you have to know that. And so your expectations have to be based on that reality. This is an imperfect world. Things are going to go bad. And they're not going to be, idyllic or really even make sense until Christ returns. Don't get caught into that little yo-yo game of distraction. Don't let them, distract you to the point where you forget where you are and what you're dealing with. They can whisper into your ear. They can bring circumstances into your life where you will become hopeless and depressed. Or they can do the opposite and get you chasing something. Get your, expectations and focus on something that you think you need, and then they'll take it away and, just play that game with you. And then you become pessimistic, and that negativity in your life builds, and you can become frustrated, angry, and you can start to believe lies. And that's just the way it is. So, what I do is I try to entertain myself because I know what they're going to do. Okay. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I get caught up in that little sandcastle game where I start chasing something and I get my hopes up and then it happens. But I know that, when these people start to try to yank my chain, when the kingdom of darkness, is obviously moving behind the scenes, and things are just ridiculous. It's always one thing after another. They want to frustrate you. They want to get you angry. They want to get you depressed. They want to get you to, be frustrated with God or whatever. And you want to make them work as hard as you can. You want to make them come out and be obvious. I've talked about the fact that gaslighting plays a huge part in this little game because, they want to throw two options on the table. They want you to get mad at God or believe some lies, or they just want you, to be frustrated and to give up, right? And, the whole medium behind it, relies on that distraction method, this whole dilemma situation. And if you know it's there, if you're realistic about what you're dealing with, it's not going to have the power, that it's going to need to do what they want it to do. And they're going to have to come out and be obvious. And at that point, they lose. They do. And it's fun because, this game goes on for a long time. Targeted individuals, when they first get into this, they're always the same way. Oh, I've been dealing with this for 2 years. I've been dealing with it for 3. It's been 5 years. And man, this is no way, and it's going to keep going. Don't, don't BS yourself. Okay. I thought the same thing. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20, 25, and beyond. It's getting pretty close to 30 years of just the harassment where you get the break-ins and all that stuff. And I go back into my childhood, and there was a lot of gaslighting in other games. And there was even the covert druggings and stuff like that in my family. But I'm not even counting that. Okay, so if you're watching the time and looking at the clock, you're buying into it. You are, because you're expecting it to stop. Your expectation is unrealistic. And, if you just kick back and be patient, learn how to be content in your circumstance the way it is, and make these bastards work as hard as they possibly can, and, eliminate the gaslighting, turn the frustration back on the stalkers, you're going to be in control. That's really the only way you're going to be in control, because you're not going to be able to, control the decisions these people are making, and you're not going to be able to control the situation you're in, unless you have those realistic expectations. You don't get distracted, and you turn it back on them. You don't react, and the frustration can go back. It can. Just to remind you, the clock is ticking for everyone. This stuff isn't going to last forever. And, some of you guys are coming towards the end of your race. Don't forget that everything these people are doing to you, everything that is happening to you, well, it's not going to go unanswered. It's not going to go unpunished. Unless these people repent, they're working up, a pretty bad day for themselves. It's going to be a little bit more than that. But you can't forget that. And, some of that stuff is going to come back on them even in this lifetime and beyond. So, when you don't react, they're doing all this stuff and they're getting nothing out of it. And it's going to cost them a lot. Don't forget that. Okay? When you're getting harassed, when people are poking you and doing all this stuff and laughing or playing little games with you, not only could it come back on them in this lifetime, there's going to be reciprocity later. So that's something you got to know. You got to know that when you're getting attacked, because the whole imbalanced equation is going to be presented to you, that all these people are getting away with it. And that sense of injustice is going to build. That sense of frustration is going to build up. And it's just not like that. There's going to be a reckoning. And the clock is ticking. You just went through another 15 minutes of it. And eventually, there's going to be an end to this. So, you can watch the clock in that sense, because this stuff will be over eventually. But, if you're hoping for things in this world, you're going to have to wait until Christ returns. Guys, be good to yourselves.